They're taking pictures of us, by the way, while we're sitting here.
Our picture's taken in front of a computer.
Look over and smile.
Welcome, everyone, to another Emerging Futures, What's Next? And today we are talking about different ways of actually growing companies that not many people are doing. And we are talking about doing that in unique ways, not necessarily using the internet or social media, but filling up events, growing million-dollar companies with two amazing entrepreneurs, Greg and John.
I'm Greg.
He's
I'm
John.
with the picnic shirt on.
And what's amazing about these guys is that their events are very, very secret, as you can see, and they fill them up. People keep coming back, and there's a secret sauce to it. So we're going to dive into that. But before we do, let me tell you a little bit about Greg and John. And we'll start with Greg. Greg is a master storyteller, a best-selling author, acclaimed speaker, and a filmmaker. And you might have seen his film, Play For It. Is that right, John? Greg?
Pass it on.
Pass it on. Pass it on. And it's amazing. You can watch it for free on Greg's YouTube channel. Greg is a natural entrepreneur known for his giving spirit and a knack for translating complicated situations into simple, digestible concepts. And what's really cool about that is that he's going to help us figure out all the stories we've been told that we need to do as entrepreneurs and what does it really take to build a great business. And John is he spent 15 years developing small businesses throughout North America and Australia. He's an avid golfer since the age of 9, and he's bringing his love to the game with his creative business expertise to develop this cutting-edge concept of $1 billion golf industry. He's been working on other endeavors since then, and I will let John tell us a little bit about that. But before we do, Greg, you have a fascinating story where you've been going through building businesses, failing with businesses, doing them again, a few marriages, and I've watched one of your videos where you were talking about the value of $100, where someone was offering you $100 and you said, yes, let me have it, and then they crushed it, crumpled it, and they said, do you still want it? You know, it's all crumpled. And you said yes. And I can't remember if you were the one saying yes or the audience was saying yes. We were talking about you. And then they stamped on it and they dirtied it, and you know, it looked like a really dirty piece of paper. And people said, yes, I still want $100. And when they were asked why, they said, well, the reason why is because there's still value in it. And when we're looking at ourselves as people, especially as entrepreneurs, right, the road is not pink and rosy. We fail all the time, and we feel like our value is diminished. So tell me about your journey through, you know, successful businesses and really the failures.
First of all, I've known John for 15 years. I've never knew you went to Australia ever one time. When did that happen? And why did I? Yeah.
Well, I got out during Thanksgiving week.
I never got a souvenir, a coffee mug, or a T-shirt. Nothing. What a jerk. And so the other thing is, yeah, business. We all have ups and downs. We all have highs and lows. And my job is, for people that don't know me, I've been selected by the Napoleon Hill Foundation. Everyone knows Think and Grow Rich, to go and interview today's, you know, modern-day thought leaders to find out, you know, what they've done to persevere. And I've had the opportunity to sit down with everyone from the guy who invented string theory to the guy building the elevator to space, from the inventor of the cellular phone to, you know, people have really impacted our planet. And I get to pick their brain. And the story you're telling is when all the money was running out and I was interviewing Genevieve Boss, the founder of Pink Magazine. I felt like such a loser because I used to have all this great stuff. And there's a quote that says, the older we get, the better we used to be. And there's another one, the poorer we get, the richer we used to be. I used to remember myself of having all this stuff. And I felt so down. And she said, never let our mistakes, setbacks, or circumstances determine your value as a person. And she used that example of the $100 bill, and when she crumpled it, she says, you know, why in life, when you get kicked around and beat, thrown to the ground and stepped on, you think your value as a person changes? Just as that $100 bill is still worth $100, your value as a human being just proves that you did not break.
I love that, but it's, you know, it's easier. We hear that in a lot of events and seminars, and when, you know, motivational speeches, and especially people from the stage love to say that, right? But the challenge is like, you're in the grind as an entrepreneur, right? Your marriage is failing. There's no money to pay rent. The business is not doing well. You need to pay employees and contractors, and it's just like not going right. So you have that sentence, but how do you, as a person, what do you use in order to actually make it through? And remember, I have value regardless of everything that's going on right now.
Well, most people let fear crumble them. I mean, the realities are what we want to do is when we see something that scares us, you got to go straight into it. You got to go straight in. And I live right here on the beach in La Jolla, California. And I realize that these surfers, when a big wave comes, if you hold on to your surfboard, it's going to pull you and push you down to the bottom. A good surfer takes the tip of the board and they go right into the belly of the wave, right what scares you the most, and they pop back on the other side. And I realize that that's the first thing we need to do, because what we think is the worst thing usually isn't the worst thing. In fact, if we had open communication or talk to our employees and say, hey guys, business sucked this month, and things have been challenging. There's no big secret. Here's my situation. Can you work with me to come out the other side? Or the same with your landlord, same with your thing. You'll find that people are people, and they understand those circumstances. So usually what scares us isn't as bad as we think it is. We just have to have the courage and the fortitude to face it. And then second, here's the biggest part of it, and you're going to take this and run with it, is the most successful people, your mentors, are also the most available. And if we're not getting the results that we want, we'll start seeking people out that are already getting the successful people that are doing what we want to do, and ask them for guidance. Ask them to mentor us, teach us what they did to get through this. And by doing so, they can tell you because of experience the path and the roadway that they took, so you can take it for yourself.
And what I found really so interesting is I always relate things back to sports, because I've been an athlete my whole life and I love golf. Here's something that's really fascinating, is that there's a concept of time that every entrepreneur always seems to have in their head, that they think everything has to be in the shortest period of time. And Greg and I were talking about this the other day, because I've been working on a $10 million golf project for 3 years now. Depending who I talk to, people go, are you still working on that thing? Like, it's been 3 years. Like, why don't you give up already? It's been 3 years. You talk to other entrepreneurs, they're going, it's only been 3 years. Yeah, it's only 3 years. You look at some of the top brands in the world, and everybody always sees the end result. They always see when the business is $1 billion. But they don't see some of the businesses took 10 years to build. And what separates those people from the people who want to be entrepreneurs is, I think there's an epidemic in the world right now. And I think it's this thing that everybody has to have everything like that.
In The Secret, they were talking about the law of attraction. What you think about naturally comes to be. But there's another thing called law of gestation, meaning that if you plant a carrot, we know it takes X amount of time for that carrot to grow. If you keep pulling up and looking at it, if there's a carrot, it's never going to grow. So there is a law of gestation. We just have to understand what that could be. And again, by seeking the counsel from people who have already done what you're going to do, they're going to give you that law of gestation, so at least you know what to look for. But most entrepreneurs, we start something without even knowing how long it will take to cook. And then we get frustrated and give up before the miracle can happen.
I love that, because you're right, and I think we became a little bit jaded with internet marketers, because this is the thing where you know what I'm saying. And it's like everything that you see online, all the product, 5 steps to success. Just buy this one thing, right? And it's going to change your life tomorrow. You're going to wake up blonde, skinny, and beautiful, right? And rich. And actually, they were saying that for women, this is what they would give up an hour of their life for. If they can go to bed and wake up skinny, they'll be like, I can just live with 23 hours a day. So the challenge is that we are fed this story that, it's just going to happen overnight, and we can do this with the resources online. You, Greg, you have built million-dollar businesses without ever using the internet or social media, right?
Yeah, and one of the greatest interviews I did was a guy named Truett Cathy, who founded Chick-fil-A restaurants, and multi-billion-dollar brand here in America. And I said, how did you do it? I want to be a billionaire too. And he says, stop planning so much and look for unexpected opportunity. I go, what do you mean? He goes, if I want to get to the end of the street and that's my goal, I get off my backside and I start moving towards that direction. He goes, a planner is going to plan every step, or they're going to pause and take a break. But I'm going to look for opportunity. Did a kid leave a skateboard or a bicycle out and make my journey short? If I get lucky, I'll wave down a neighbor and hitch a ride to the end of the street. He goes, either way, I'll get to my goal. I'm just not so caught up in how and when it has to happen.
That is brilliant. But it's also a challenge for a lot of people, right? Because when they're asking you to start a business, everybody's asking you, what's your business plan, right? And we get stuck in the development of a business plan. did you guys ever sit down and actually write a business plan, or do you just go at it?
No, I've been still writing a business plan. 3 years later, I'm still writing a business plan. But let me tell you, I'm in the midst of this huge project that Greg knows, and it's involved in all the things that I know absolutely nothing about. I've never run a restaurant. I've never built anything. So I'm building a brick and mortar business. I've never been in the golf industry. I've never done any of these things. But you know what I did?
He's never been to Australia.
That's just rumors. Rumors. But let me tell you what I have found, and this is really what we do is what it's all about is there's somebody out there that is a skill set that you don't have. You don't have to be good at it. But what you have to do is you have to assemble the right people around you. I'll give you a perfect example. I've been playing, like I said, I'm a big golfer. I played golf my whole life. How many golfers that you find, and you find this, every coach will tell you this, play on the best team that you can possibly find, even if you don't start. Meaning, if you're going to have an opportunity to play with the LA Lakers, or would you rather play with a high school basketball team where you get to play all the time? Every coach will tell you, play with the Lakers. You know why? Because being with that level of caliber, the highest level of caliber is going to bring up your game. Perfect example, when I play golf, I can play golf the same way all the time, but as soon as I start playing with like championship quality golfers, without even taking a lesson, I play better. Because that's what happens. You know, the tide rises all ships, but most people don't have anybody around them that does that. A lot of people, just by habit, and Greg will probably attest to this, is that people like to surround themselves with people that make them feel comfortable. We want to be around the yes people. We want to be around the people that say, oh, you can do it, and that's great, but they might not be the achievers or the movers that you need to be around. By being around that higher caliber person, it'll bring up what you're doing.
Right, and the antithesis of that one, and this is a true story, and it'll sound like I'm being funny, but it's the fact. When I go golfing with him because I suck, I pull him down to my level. And that's what happens sometimes in business. What happens is this. I'll tell you, one of the greatest ahas I've ever had is the guy who invented string theory. And he said, successful people seek counsel and failures listen to opinion. And I said, what's the difference? He goes, opinion is based on ignorance, lack of knowledge, inexperience. They've never done it, like your family, friends. He goes, counsel is based on wisdom, mentorship, knowledge. They've already paved the way. If I go to a family friend who's never written a book and say, I'm going to write one, he'll say, you can't do that. Why not? I don't know. You can't. That's their opinion. If I go to Mark Victor Hansen, who wrote Chicken Soup for the Soul, sold 100 million books, and say, I'm going to do it, he'll say, before you get started, right, here's what you need to know, and give me counsel. He said, if we would spend our daily lives only seeking counsel and ignoring people's opinion, that's what we would like.
So I love what you're saying, because I completely agree with you. Your life, and I think this is your favorite quote, Greg, right? Your life will be exactly the same 5 years from today, except for the people that you know and the books that you read. Did I say right?
You said it right, and that's Charlie Tremendous Jones, my mentor, who taught that. You know, when people say find mentors, you and I have had this deep conversation.
Yeah.
You don't need one mentor in your life.
Correct.
You need many mentors in your life. So if I'm going to learn my short game of golf, I'm going to go to John because he's an expert at that. But I might not ask him about my tennis game because he's not prolific at that. So it's very important to have multiple mentors in your life. I don't ask my tax accountant on my love life, for example. On the same note, I'm very careful who I choose. But I always seek the people that are playing at the level that I want so that I can start having that level myself.
And Ethan, what's very interesting is that you've heard this concept, a lot of people hear this concept of who are the 5 people you spend the most time with?
Right.
And then take an average of what they make in a year, and that will be kind of what you make in a year. And I got to tell you, I didn't believe it. And in a way, I just found this little wrinkle on that because I've surrounded myself with some pretty wealthy people over the years. But you know what? I haven't reached their level of wealth. And it was this little epiphany moment that I had not too while ago that I said, you know what, there's a little wrinkle in this. It isn't surrounding yourself with wealthy people, because some people hear that and go, I'm going to go find the people who have the most money, and I'm going to surround myself with those people. That isn't the case. It's surrounding yourself with wealthy people who are doing things in the world. Because you can surround yourself with somebody who's wealthy that sits home, they're sitting on their wealth, they're not doing anything. Just by hanging out with them doesn't make you wealthy. You want to be out there with the people who are the movers and shakers. Who is in your immediate community can you do that? And if you don't have that, here's the cool thing. You can borrow those 5 people from somebody else. That's one of the greatest things I've gotten from knowing Greg, is that Greg's got this great Rolodex of people that I've known over the years, and it's like, I'm not best friends with him, But I get to leverage my relationship with Greg to meet other people, and he gets to do that with me, and that's what we do with people, is leverage relationships. Borrow those people you can hang around with. It's only going to help you.
Yes, I totally agree. So the next question is actually, how do you get to do that, right? Say we're startup entrepreneurs. We're surrounded by not the wealthiest or most business savvy people. And I'm assuming that most people that just get started with entrepreneurship, their family is probably still in the employee game, and they're very much pulling them down. So how do you move out to start finding and actually associating? So like, for example, I would love to sit down with Mark Cuban and have coffee, you know, and meet with him on Hangouts and actually interview him. Mark, if you hear this. But, you know, I would love to be in that niche of people. And I know this is the Shark Tank, right? Going to elevate me. I'm not there yet. I don't know anyone that can get me there yet. What do I do as an entrepreneur who just started out?
Okay, you just asked a couple different questions. One, if you want to get on Shark Tank, they actually do auditions for it, and the person who hosts and actually sponsors that is a dear friend of mine. So you just send me an email and I'll get you introduced. Door number two is that, you know, the most successful people are also the most available people. And you got to understand this: if you're brand new at something, you're happy-go-lucky, you're cool. If you're at the pinnacle of your field, happy-go-lucky, you got nothing to prove. In the middle, pain in the ass. You're filled with ego. You're edging God out. You're finding your own voice. So the secret is just to cut to the front of the line, because they truly are available. And the way that they are available is that you honor them by actually applying what they teach you. When I wanted to become a speaker, I remember I went to the most famous guy at the time, Les Brown, one of my legends, and said, I want to be a speaker like you. What should I do? Give me one nugget. He did. I went back to him a month later, says, Mr. Brown, I asked for one nugget. You gave it to me. I applied it. Here's what happened. What should I do next? What's the chance of him giving me that next nugget? 100%. And you honor your mentors by actually showing that you're applying it. And that's how I built relationships with all these amazing people. If I was a realtor and I wanted to get started in my local area, I'd go to the top real estate dude and say, hey, I want to do the same thing. Give me one little nugget I could do. You do it. You honor them by applying it. You'd be amazed how much they'd become your friend and ally.
And you got to know, and this is the other thing, is you have to know that you're going to fail a lot. You're going to fall down a lot being an entrepreneur. I don't care who you are. I don't care if you're in the top of your game. You're always going to do that. In fact, Napoleon Hill, probably about 100 years ago, really had this really interesting interview where he actually interviews the devil, and he actually asks him about, hey, who is, you know, what do successful people do, and how do you actually control people? And the devil, they do this really cool interview, and the devil says, listen, 97% of everybody will be mine, meaning like they'll never be successful because of three simple things. If people fail 3 times with something, then they'll most likely give up and never do anything again. And I look at that, and Greg and I have been around entrepreneurs for I don't even know how many years. It's like 3. 3 times? I mean, that's it? And I'm going, man, that's pretty quick. I mean, no wonder why so many people have jobs. Only 3% of Americans own a business. Only 1% of Canadians own a business. But I think more people like to own businesses, but they go in with this kind of pie-in-the-sky thing like, I got this great idea. I'm going to go talk to 2 people. I'm going to go raise $1 million and create a $10 million empire in 30 days. And when it doesn't happen in 2 months, they go, you know what? It probably wasn't a good idea. Yeah. It's so easy. It's absolutely so easy to give up. And it only takes 3 failures, and chances are people are going to give up. And that's why you got to really prepare and sit in for the long haul if you're going to do any project. You really got to get out of the instant gratification process, because, you know, owning a business is kind of an ongoing love.
And it's anything we do. And Andy, that's a great quote, by the way.
Yeah.
You know, it's kind of interesting. When I started writing a book, look, I got a D in English, barely graduated high school. I'm not the sharpest tool in the shed. And I wanted to write books, and everyone kind of laughed at me. And when you write a book, you do a query letter that says who you are, what's your message, why are people going to read it. I sent 8 of these to every publisher everywhere in the world, and I got 8 return envelopes. Yeah. I was turned down by 268 publishers in a row. The 269th one said, we'll do your book, just change the title, the beginning, the middle, and the end part, right? And I said, well, you know more than me, so I took their counsel, and now I've been published in 56 books, 45 countries, and the whole concept is because I would not give up. And to me, it wasn't even an option until I exhausted everything. I was just going to do it no matter what. And the thing that the leaders do differently than other people is successful people find they're knowing what they're committed to rather than what they're interested in. If you start a brand new restaurant downtown because it's a cool trend, as soon as crap hits the fan, you're going to quit. If you take over the family Italian restaurant for 8 generations, well, when you have those same challenges, you're going to find a way to see it through. You're going to ask Uncle Leo what he did so he can come in and help, so you can pass it on your next generations and honor your heritage. Well, if more people would find something that they knew, not they hoped, wished, believed, but they knew in their heart that they're going to do and stick with it, eventually they'll see success.
And so what I hear you say, both of you, is 2 things. One, you have to be so passionate about what it is that you want to change in the world. That will fuel your, you during the times of failure. And the other thing that I hear you say is relationships. Is that...
Yeah, in fact, can I show the success equation?
Yeah, please.
So
this is awesome. This is really good.
After interviewing hundreds and hundreds of world-class millionaires, billionaires, thought leaders, blah, 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 I just want to know, is there a secret of success? And it came down to this. The most successful people, not deemed by money, I'm going to be very clear. Okay, there's a lot of nurses, teachers, there's firemen, there's amazing people that aren't the wealthiest, but I'm going to tell they're very successful people, okay? But most successful people follow something called success equation. The letter P plus T times A squared plus F is success. And it sounds like a math test, but it's super simple. Late night infomercials, the big guy with big T says, find your passion and the money will follow. That is complete BS. It is a lie. I know everyone's going, oh, but it's a lie. Because I watch another show, American Idol. These kids show up and they're full of passion, right? But unfortunately, most of them suck. So if you're passionate about singing but you suck, are you going to be successful? Chances are no. But if you have the P plus the T, which stands for talent. So again, if you're passionate about singing and you had the talent, you had a God-given gift, you have a shot. But without the first A, you'll never make it. And you better listen to this since you don't know it yet, knucklehead, is action. You got to do something with that God-given gift. If you're passionate about singing and you're talented, but you only sing in the shower or didn't do anything with it, you're not going to make it. But the second A is what you just said is the most important. It's your passion plus your talent, taking action with the right association, people who have already opened the doors for you, and had the F, faith, that that's your journey, you have a shot. Imagine being a passionate singer with talent, you're willing to pay your dues, align with something in the music industry, and have the faith that that's your journey. Guess what? There's your success equation.
And associations and faith, I think, are really the biggest ones out of the whole thing. And the reason I say it is because most people are going want to get to the end, like they just want to get to the finish line, and they think that they have to do this whole complicated thing to do that, but it could be one person away. Perfect example, for 3 years, I've been looking for one person to add to my team. It's taken 3 years, and I was a builder. I needed a specific builder. And so this was like the missing link, but it took 3 years. Greg's known I've been looking for 3 years, and finally it happened. But you know what? It was through association of somebody that was already on my team who knew somebody who knew somebody who knew somebody who knew somebody, and boom, that's happened. But it also took faith. It took faith because, you know, Greg for 3 years going, how's that going? How's that going? And it just kept going and going, and now it's becoming reality. But without those 2 things, I would have just said, you know what, hey, that's just the way it goes. But you have to apply that. And associations, I think, here's the cool thing. The double-edged sword of the internet is this. There's so much information, but we think that the associations that we meet online are the ones that are going to take our business to the next level. So that's why people have 5,000 friends on Facebook and 2,000 friends, and they're part of all these things. But it could be the person that you meet sitting next to you at a coffee shop that actually is the person that actually takes you to the next level. I haven't met anybody. I really have not met anybody online in my Facebook community in I don't know how many years now that has taken my business from here to 100%. I don't know if you have either, Greg.
No, we're getting this comment. It's interesting. A gentleman's talking about attitude.
Attitude,
and again, so people that don't know my work, I'm going to give you a little insight. In 1908, Napoleon Hill was given a letter by Carnegie to go meet the most powerful, influential people, Edison, Einstein, Ford, Rockefellers, and wrote Think and Grow Rich. Exactly 100 years later, the Napoleon Hill Foundation and the family wrote that same letter, and they gave it to me. And that's how I've had a chance to go meet these people. And the president of the Napoleon Hill Foundation sent this to me. And this right here says PMA, right? Positive Mental Attitude, which is a huge, huge benefit where you talked about all this thing on the back. But here's a story that a lot of people don't know. Napoleon Hill and W. Clement Stone had a big argument, depending upon what the number one personal achievement success principle is. Napoleon Hill said it was definitive purpose, knowing your purpose and going forward with all of everything else. Where W. Clement Stone said it was a positive mental attitude, and they had this thing back and forth. And eventually Napoleon Hill won out because he's the one who actually authored the book. But what's really interesting about that is it's kind of like the chicken and the egg, I guess, so to speak, because this gentleman is absolutely right who's making his comments, is that attitude truly is everything. And the best way to get a positive attitude is surround yourself with people that share your attitude. So, for example, I don't share my hopes and dreams and business things with people that don't understand. Again, people's opinion. When John was having these challenges for 3 years, he came to me. I was his pep rally, and he surrounded himself with people who actually believed in him and supported him and worked with him, and is still doing it today. And that is the true key, because if you don't have the attitude yourself, because it's hard to keep yourself, surround yourself with other like-minded people that'll kick you in the ass once in a while and give you that boost of confidence. So remember, you're right on track.
I love that. And, many people go about finding these people to events, right? It'll be like, okay, I will find my peers at CES, so I will find my peers at Evan Pagan Accelerate or something like that. You feel that these events are not truly giving everything that they can give to the attendees, right? Which is why you created a completely new type of event.
Yeah, and again, I wouldn't say anything negative about our peers, because it's just it's their style. What happened with ours is, you see, we're weird guys. We're regular folks. I mean, we're just regular people. And what happened is I traveled the world and met these amazing human beings, and people said, how do I get to meet them? So in my living room, I started with 12 people, and I said, well, here's some of my friends. I paraded them through. They go, hey, you get access to these people. I can't get access. And that's not true. So I started doing an event, the Secret Knock thing, where for example, this next one, we have the guy who invented the credit card magnetic strip and changed banking as you know it. We've got the founder of Make-A-Wish. We got some of these most amazing human beings on the planet all coming to one place at one time, so you can hang out and talk to them, just like these conversations. And that's what we wanted to create. And what's really neat about it is that the takeaways is what you get. People say, what do you get from coming to Secret Knock? Nothing. That's not my job there. I'm not going to do any teaching and flow charts. All we're going to do is put these associations all in one spot of the most modern-day thought leaders, so you can have access to, because you never know if you're 1 degree away from meeting that right person who can open up the door you need most. 80% of everything we need is already within our sphere of influence. Right here, I guarantee you, you've got names and numbers of people you collected at some networking group or somebody who's amazing people, but you're afraid to call them. The difference is, I'm not afraid to call them. And so what happens is you open up those doors of opportunities most will never have.
Great. John?
Well,
anything to add to that?
Yeah, well, hey, this is the weird thing about Secret Knock. It's a collection of wacky entrepreneurs and really cool people that I think want something different, to be honest with you. I think, I don't know about you, but I got tired out of the seminar world, because, hey, and there's nothing wrong with going to seminars and learning a specific skill set, but I find that a lot of times I will learn the most from a completely unrelated industry, that I'm listening to somebody who did something. Like, for example, I was telling Greg, I went and had to buy a mattress for our 4-year-old. And, I went to every mattress store, the traditional way that it's been done for, what, like 100 years, go buy mattress, right? I hear something on the radio about these 5 guys that want to revolutionize the way that you buy mattress. There's no showroom. There's nothing to pick. They have one mattress. Boom, comes to your house in a box. It does itself. It's an all natural mattress. Long story short, it's 50% cheaper. 100. This whole thing they do, right? I go, I want to meet those people. You know why? Because they didn't just want to do what every other mattress company is doing. They are killing it right now because they're doing something completely wacky. You know what they're doing? They're creating a following, like Apple. They're creating people that love this, and that's the cool thing I love about with Secret Knock is when it was put together, is that it really kind of becomes a tribe of people that are, hey, I want to learn not just from my specific little tight sphere. I want to learn the cool stuff from people who have done completely wacky stuff. Like the guy who invented the magnetic strip on the credit card, I had no idea that before that, every company, every store had a book of credit card numbers. That's how they checked credit. I didn't know that.
And this next one's cool. We got this guy, Gene Landrum, coming in. And people would say they want to start a franchise or they want to start a restaurant. Well, he's the guy who everyone said he was crazy. He could never raise money. It took him more than 3 years, like 8 years. And everyone said no, 100%. And they said, you want to bring a rat into the restaurant industry, you're out of your mind. One guy writes the first check, goes on to become Chuck E. Cheese. And he's going to sit there and say, look, everyone has a dream, then there's a challenge, and then there's victory. Most people quit in the challenge. And we bring in this neuroscientist who's going to actually do a live brain scan and show you how your thoughts work and how the actual synapses fire. And then we go into this, the guy who invented holistic medicine. But it's so weird. The whole idea is it's not just a normal gathering. It's like, how do you bring the best of the best people who've actually impacted and changed our planet into one place where you can actually interact with them and actually befriend? And that's what it is.
And you know what? One of these things in those events, everybody comes there with an agenda, right? Like if I'm going to CES, then my agenda is to meet the right people that will help me take my business to the next level. And CES, of course, it's a different type of event, but different promotional growth or any different type of events is like people come there with a personalized agenda. What can I get out of it? Your event sounds like, because they started in your living room, there's a different feel and dynamic to it. Is that right?
Yeah, it's just laid back. I mean, it's the only word. It's kind of like a game show, talk show mixed with a circus, I guess, because we don't have rules. Our only rule is be cool. I mean, if you're going to come and complain because it's hot in the room, just stay home. Just if it's hot in the room, tell somebody so we can turn down the thermostat. If water runs out, go fill the friggin' water tank. And if the mic goes out, yell loud. I mean, it's just be cool. It gets rid of all that stuff. You don't have to dress up and wear suits and try to impress people. Our thing is just, on the same note, if you wear a tinfoil hat and talk to aliens through your dead cat, you're not going to come to my event, okay? We pre-screen everyone that comes and make sure that they're normal. And when you come, because I'm introducing you to my friends, just be cool and have fun with it. And that's the idea. That's, to me, the PMA, the positive mental attitude, is going back to old school, the way it's done. And instead of selling people in the back of the room, here's, the story. No, wait. No, well, normally, right? Here's my joke for motivational speakers.
Yeah.
How many motivational speakers does it take to screw in a light bulb? Well, normally, right? The whole idea is that we give everything away. Even on the second night, once you come, all the people that have got books and CDs and programs, they just give them to you. Yeah. And you can take pictures and autograph them, because the whole idea is we charge enough money up front that it covers all the costs. You don't have to pay for lunch. Just that crap that's out there. We just changed it to the way it should be done. If you were going to do an event, what would it be like? Ta-da! That's it.
Hey, don't you love? And that's the and this is hey, our little mascot in the office here. He's gonna come in and say hello.
There you go.
This is Frankie.
This is Frankie. Yeah, little French bulldog. He's our office guard dog. That's what it is. All right, there you go.
But you know what's cool is there's nobody sells anything at Secret Knock. This is not the event where you come in and we're gonna say, well, I know you thought you were coming here to learn how to be a millionaire, but really it's the next event that you're going to be the millionaire. And listen, we've all been doing it. There's nothing wrong with anything. I'm just saying this is the real stuff.
Well, there's one thing that we do auction stuff off. So
we do auction
be very
stuff,
clear, because
yeah.
we always have a charity of choice, and whatever that is, if someone has like a signed, Think and Grow Rich book, or they got something that's really cool and people want, we'll auction it off, and then all that money goes to whatever charity it is. This upcoming one's really cool. We found these people that make lights for people all around the world that live in villages and these huts. And what happens is they have kerosene lamps, and basically it's like smoking 4 packs of cigarettes a day, and kids can't study because they have no light. So we found these people have got solar lights that one battery lasts 5 years, and they're only $100. And so what we're going to do is raise as many tens of thousands of dollars we can and buy a boatload of these lights, and then we're going to just donate them, give them to everyone from Tahiti to wherever needs them, or from Haiti, I guess better than Tahiti, right? So we can give them to Haiti, to Africa, wherever they need these lights, so they can actually study and become they give them a leg up, I guess, so to speak. So there is that element to it.
And then the last knock we did, it was the backpacks. How many backpacks did we give away?
Yeah, the homeless people. There's backpacks that cost $100, and they have 150 essential elements that people need on their street: socks, underwear, soap, book, things like that. And we raised, I think, $65,000, so 650 people, homeless people, before winter actually got something that can make an impact. But again, that's what it's about. It's about giving, sharing, and these speakers don't get paid. They all get charged. They charge $25,000 to $50,000 each. They all come for free. They pay their own airline, everything, just to be part of this thing. So that way, there's no favoritism or nepotism. But again, enough about that Secret Knock stuff. The main thing is, look, who are you hanging out with? People always say, I wish that I had a different circle? Why am I the smartest person in my group? Why is it that I'm smarter than someone else, yet they have more success than me? That's a bunch of crap. You know, and the whole thing is change the people you hang out with. Hang out with people that think the same, talk the same, want the same things, and then you'll start getting those same results. So we invite you to come hang out with us. You know, come participate. Again, stop complaining or talking about it. Do something. It's 2015. You know, it's so funny. 2008, 7, kind of rough years, right?
Yeah, I think so.
But what happens, they give us a PhD in what not to do and how we can improve our lives. And one of the biggest things is if we would surround ourselves with people that are getting the results we want, eventually we'll get the same results. So, and by the way, you know that coffee mug you showed up earlier?
Yep.
Can you show it to us again? Show us that coffee mug. You know why it's blank? Because no one.
No, it's not blank. It's actually. I was trying not to. This is
You're showing your fancy little logo. I was gonna say because at Disneyland, no one has a "you fat" name on a coffee mug at Disneyland. I've never seen.
No, this is actually from a flight training school. I took some flight trainings, and so. But I was trying to be non-promotional.
Well, there you go. Now you're just showing up. Anyway, do you want to open up for some questions or anything?
Yeah.
What do you want to do here?
Yes, we do. So first of all, I want to share with you Andy again. I love the secret knock. I'm thinking a secret yoo-hoo would be good too.
Yeah, I like that yoo-hoo. It's a good drink. Chocolatey goodness.
And I like what Karen. Karen, you are here in the hangout with us. If you want to jump in, she says that getting the introduction is just the first step. What you do with it is up to you. Yeah, and that's what we tell people. You know, when you come hang out with, you know, if you just hang out in my office in a day, you wouldn't believe the people you're meeting. And that's Hilliard Goldwin walked in the back right here.
Hi.
He's the guy who does all the work. And what's interesting is like one of the cool cats coming to Secret Knock is a guy named Brian Smith, who invented Ugg boots. He actually has been to Australia, unlike this guy. And the whole idea is how he took this idea against all odds and made it this success. You know, it's a $1 billion brand today, but how it started in the infrastructure is absolutely amazing. And it's common sense. What he did is that when they came out, he took out all these ads with fancy models in all the surfer magazines, and no one was buying them. He saw these two like teenage kids who are 12, 13 years old and says, will you buy these boots? And they said no. And he said, why? He goes, because that model's wearing them. That's not for us. We're surfers. And he had an aha. And he went and hired the top surfers and skateboarders, the real people, to wear the boots in the same magazines, and they sold out. It became a multi-million-dollar brand because you're actually going towards the people that were your target audience. And these people get up and share these simple little things that they did differently that will just absolutely blow your mind.
And you get to, and basically you're going to get to ask these questions.
No, hang out actually.
And hang out, and you know, one of the things I always ask everybody, all the speakers that come, I love asking them, how'd you get your money for your business? What was your biggest, you know, when things got bad, how did you overcome that? I mean, when he was sharing about what happened when he had Ugg boots and he went from hero to disaster and how he pulled himself out of that. Those are the things that I think are the big aha moments, is that you're going to learn when the going was the worst for these people, how they still persevered, what they did.
Our greatest success will always come one step beyond our greatest setback. So when people feel the worst, the down and out, good news, because that's when the miracle happens.
True.
So I love that, and I want to, Doug, do you have a camera? Is your camera on? Do you want to jump in and ask your question?
I got plugged here.
Doug? No? Yes? Okay, jump in. Unmute.
Okay, we're just getting our computer plugged in here. Okay, there he goes. He's got the headset on.
Yeah, just unmute, Doug.
Either that or he's landing planes. I don't know which one.
Hey, who's the guy with the bald head? I like that look, buddy.
That's right. Doug, you are muted, so you need to unmute.
Good talking to you, Doug.
Yeah.
Sorry about that.
You're a wordsmith, buddy.
I just wanted to know where this top secret knock event is held, or is that top secret?
Nah, here's the scoop. Secret Knock is held. It's twice a year. It's in spring and one in summer. The next one's gonna be March 2, 3, 4 in San Diego, and it's in Southern California, San Diego, in a place called La Jolla. And if you know the area, it's a real rough neighborhood. No, it's really nice. It's like the fanciest place we have down here. I always tell everyone, beware the La Jolla gang. At night, they break into BMWs and they detail them. They're real tough crew.
So guys, while you're watching this hangout, right next to the hangout, if you want to apply, because as Greg was saying, they screen the people that are coming in, making sure that they're not wearing tinfoil hats. If you want to apply, just click on that little image that says Secret Knock, like this, and you will be getting a phone call from one of Greg's employees, and they'll tell you all about it. and see if you are a good match for Greg's friends. Right? Basically.
And you know what's really thing is we're not that picky. We just want people that are cool. That's it. I mean, if it's kind of like, what's the infrastructure and the thing and the diagrams and it's just doesn't make it fit. I'll give you an example. When you come, I'm not going to tell you who's speaking. You get what's that called? The program.
Itinerary. You get no itinerary.
Just relax. Just come hang out. And I guarantee you, the people you're hanging out with will blow your mind. And then you're going to have an opportunity to meet every single person that's there. And what we do is just parade people through a little bit at a time. One gal that's coming in that's really cool, her name is Susie. She invented something called poopery. You guys are on the internet.
Oh, I know that one. That's awesome.
Exactly, right? So her story is amazing. A housewife. Her husband was the, I think, lead guitarist or drummer or something like that for Quiet Riot, the old band. Come on, feel the noise back in the day. And so she's sitting there. She's a stay-at-home mom. She's got 3 boys and a husband, stinking up the house, pooping all day. And so she's coming up with an idea, and she comes up with these essential oils to spray in the toilet bowl and to hide your poop smell. And it started out as a joke, but they sold $28 million first year, $50-something million next year, and now they're talking about selling it for $130 million. Absolutely crazy. There you go.
That was me. So, Greg, let's talk about that. Like you were saying that at Secret Knock, you're asking people the real questions, like what did it feel when you failed, and how did you bring yourself up? So can you share your own personal story?
Yeah, I just look, a good writer writes about what they need help with the most, and I'm the biggest quitter in the world. I quit sales, marketing, marriage. If it got hard, I quit. And so I went on this journey and meet all these amazing people to find out why they didn't quit, and now I'm not a quitter. Hey, some guy over here keeps asking about business questions. You want to let him ask?
That's me. I'm asking. So anyone here in the Hangout, guys, if you want to jump in and you have a question, any business questions that you want these guys to answer, either leave them in the comments or in the Hangouts. We'll let you jump in and go for it.
One of the most incredible people that I met along the journey. Everyone always says pick out your favorite interview. But this guy named Evander Holyfield, he's a boxing legend, won more heavyweight championships than anyone. I said, did you ever want to quit? And he says, the reason I didn't is I just raised my standard. I go, what do you mean? He goes, well, if you have a car and you won't tolerate it running bad or being dirty, you have a higher standard, nicer car than your neighbor. In sports, I showed up early, left late, invented exercises. I won more championships. I said, didn't it hurt being in a fight? He goes, yeah, it hurts. But when you're in a fight, you don't focus on the pain. You don't focus on the blows. As soon as you focus on the pain, you end up knocked out. He says, but that's what people do outside the ring. They focus on gas prices, war, economy, and they wonder why they never become a champion. And I pulled me in really tight, and I'm looking up at this guy missing half an ear bitten off by Tyson, right? And he says, you know what the funny thing is? He says, when you do win the championship, he says, everyone comes to their feet and they chant your name. They raise your hand in victory, and a guy puts a big shiny belt around your waist. And at that moment, you don't feel even one of the punches you took along the journey. But the guy in the losing locker room will have every excuse for the rest of their life wishing they had a higher standard. So all we're saying is that raise your standard. John, when you're looking for people, you wouldn't quit until you found that right connection. How do you find the right connection? Well, if 80% of everything we need is within our sphere, and now we're in your sphere, we're in your connection. Let us open doors. Most people want to open doors so that you can have the success. People don't want to hold you back. People usually just give you crappy information and counsel because it's based on opinion and not the actual counsel.
And, one of the things that I think I had found most valuable over my years was that it's normal to just fail at what you're doing. That's part of the process. I mean, I confided in Greg, I don't know, about a year ago, and he was like, what's going on? I said, I'm still working on this. And he could tell I was like, I dealt with every person that would say yes and that wouldn't come through. I was dealing with that for a while. All the investors that were going to write a check never did. Yeah. And it was hundreds of people. And that wears on you. I mean, that just becomes this. He saw me. I looked beaten up. And you know what he said? He goes, hey, you're doing it. This is part of the process. And it wasn't until I really realized that this is normal. I think people who are so used to just like getting stuff done, especially if you're out there and you're in sales, you want to make sales. But now imagine a sales process being 5 years or 10 years. Would it be worth it to make the big sale? Right. And knowing that that's a normal part of the process. And I think by just the people feeling normal that, hey, this is part of the game. And that's what people have to realize, that business is a game. It doesn't have to be so serious. There's so much seriousness. That's what I love, what's so wacky about what we do. It ain't serious. And you're going to find that the most successful people, they are not serious either. That's why you look at the Google headquarters. Everybody's in T-shirts. They have nap pods. They have all sorts of crazy stuff. They're not wearing coats, ties, and got to sit around a board meeting. They're like, hey, whatever. Let's just do whatever. Same thing with Apple. Any of these companies out there's kind of a new dynamic happening in the world where people just are learning to become themselves and be okay that they can be themselves.
Yeah. And by the way, this again is Hilliard Goldwyn. He'll be the guy when you want to apply for a secret knock. We'll call you, and you can see he's not a bad guy. He doesn't have no horns, hunchback. He's cool.
I'm hunched a little bit now.
But
Normally I try to stand up straight.
that's about it.
Normally.
Anyway, anyone else have any questions for us?
So I love what you were saying, and actually I've learned that from Eben when I heard him say everything online is a test. Everything is a test. So you put something out there, and you see the response, and then you course correct, right? So exactly like my unbranded cap.
I got to interrupt on this one because also I want to be clear with this and people listening. Just because you see it online and you hear these stories of these people doesn't mean it's true.
Yes.
And there's also more to this story than most people know. And the idea of Secret Knock is to cut to the chase and tell you the real realities. So when someone does one of those internet launches and they do $1 million one shot, understand this, that usually they did a joint venture with other people. Half that money is already spent. There's products and deliverables and things of that nature. Your real number isn't what the perceived value is. We don't fluff it and BS. We say, look, here's the way it really works. If you want to be a best-selling author with your book, here's how I say manipulate, but here's how we systemize the industry to hedge our bet to make that happen. Here's how we get in these subcategories. Here's how we ask all your friends to buy. Here's how we do it. Don't you want to know the secrets, how this stuff really works? Well, that's what it's about.
I mean, the publisher is the secret.
Oh yeah,
Might help you.
If you guys want to publish a book, the publisher of The Secret, I don't know if anyone's ever heard of that book, he'll be there, and some of the most amazing people because we're going to cut to the chase.
Love it. Kristen jumping in.
Yeah, we got a comment from
Kristen.
Okay, well, it sounds like from what I'm hearing, that like you guys are talking about like taking a holistic approach, and then you really can't leave one aspect out. You have to just come with all of you. What would you say to those people who try to encourage people to niche?
Well, it's awesome.
Yeah.
Then come meet somebody who's the expert in that field and then team up with them. Again, if you wanted to get into the speaking industry, come and meet the people that have been on TV Secret Millionaire who teach the #1 speech camp in the country. If you want to start if you have an invention, come meet the guy who actually invented the multiple listing service for real estate, who actually automated the New York Stock Exchange into the credit card magnetic strip and focus on that. If you want to get a startup, to come meet the people that have actually done those things.
If you're writing a movie script, come meet the producer of Pretty Woman and Under Siege. I mean, come sit down and have lunch with them. That's it. They're just hanging out.
Our whole thing is rather than just focus on one thing, I think life is well-rounded. It's called balance. Everyone talks about it. Well, come get balance. Come hang out with the people that are doing what you want to do. And also know it is kind of holistic because we have that yin and yang. And even using that word, the person who invented the word holistic medicine will be there. 90-something-year-old woman who invented it, who brought acupuncture to America. Yeah. These are the people you have access to. Not just coined phrases, but the people actually owned and invented these phrases. You get to associate with. There you go.
And probably,
I'm sorry, guys. And also, this is very important, guys. I've been to many, many seminars, and I've seen a lot of speakers and a lot of great speakers. There's two things about Secret Knock which is fantastic. One, there's no back-of-the-room sales. Our speakers are not there to sell product to you. They are there to give back from the heart. So that whole icky feeling, I hate that word, but that whole icky feeling they're going to try and sell me something doesn't exist, and it's fantastic. Two, all of our speakers are there all 3 days. They're attendees just like you. So you never know who you're sitting next to.
True story.
You're forced to network. Like, oh my God, you're the founder of this. You'll just never know. That's what's great about it.
Yeah, because remember, it's not the person a lot of times that you think is the key to getting your business to the next level. It could be somebody completely unrelated. We like to think of people in a bubble. Like, this person's in this industry and they know everybody in this industry. Not true at all. Greg knows 1,000 people in 1,000 different industries. Same with me. So we have people that are all cross-pollinating a lot of different things. And like I said, you're only about 2 or 3 people away from meeting the ideal person. So it doesn't mean like you always have to go hunt. Because people think like, hey, I'm a golfer. I'm going to go seek out Tiger Woods to teach me to play better golf. No, I'm not going to meet Tiger Woods. I might meet somebody else, somebody else, somebody else. I might meet Butch Harmon or someone that I don't even know right now. So these are the type of things that always to kind of keep in your mind is that it doesn't have to be A plus B equals C.
Do you have to know what you're about, what business you're promoting, what you're trying to go after before you meet all these amazing people that can take you to the next level? Maybe you don't even know your own baseline yet.
Well, let's ask Frankie and see what he says. I think he's good. So you know what's interesting is that, you know, I'll brag a little bit, is that this event just got picked up in Forbes as of last week as the #2 must-attend event for 2015, according to Forbes. And what's really interesting, one of the attendees came, she was working in one job and she was very successful just a year ago. After coming to Secret Knock, she had a whole different viewpoint of meeting some people, change her career path, and she started her own business as an entrepreneur for the first time. This year, she was just featured in Forbes, if you go by the magazine, as the top 30 under 30 business entrepreneurs of the entire nation. And that's what's so cool. Sometimes you get that aha that you don't even know could exist, because if you come up from a family of coal miners, all you know is coal mining. So all of a sudden, when you're in a room with all these people with different perceptions, then you have those different perceptions. That's not even our room. I mean, that's just in life in general.
Yeah.
You know, if you go to a networking group that only talks about real estate, you're only going to talk real estate. If you go to one talk about investments, you're talking about investments. So for, you know, some people, that's exactly what you're looking for. All we did is try to make a cluster, I'd use a different word there, of all kinds of amazing people, and let you pick them yourself. That's it.
Love it. Karen, unmute my friend.
Hi, this is a really great conversation, and I got a couple of thoughts. It sounds like definitely be yourself is like, be yourself, be bold is like the theme for 2015, especially for me, right?
Okay. Like that. I like that.
And I also, Virgin America.
All right.
That's a little personal, I think.
Anyway, so the
question, guys.
So the question I have is, it sounds like what your thing is kind of like a buffet to me. It sounds like there's like a little sampling, a little tasting, you're meeting, you're mingling, and I guess the question I have is, how large is this buffet in terms of?
That's the thing. We only keep
for 3 days.
I know.
I mean, for 3 days.
We only keep it down to about 300 people, and we could make this the size of a stadium, and that's why we hand select every person that comes, because again, we just want cool people that get it, want to hang out, and that's it. And then once you come, we're going to ask you to invite your friend or your spouse or your boyfriend or girlfriend or whatever, because birds of a feather. That's all we're doing, is we're building a tribe. You know, so many people want to fill these auditoriums with just people and butts and seats or whatever they call it. That's we're kind of the antithesis. We go, how do we get cool people that really want to hang out and get it? And you don't have to be a millionaire or a billionaire. You just have to have that attitude that you really want to make a difference in this world. You want to do something powerful, and then let us give you the tools to do it.
And is this just one time a year that you have this, or is this like you have this around the country, or is it global in terms of?
It's just in San Diego, so we don't have to work too much, and we do it twice a year, once in spring, once in summer. And we don't have a sales pitch behind it. Again, it's a cool thing, and people, if it makes a good fit, you already know. And the people are going right now, that's me, that's you. Usually when I go around and do talks, it's kind of like a Noah's Ark. I'll invite 2 people from every event that I do, and then those people from all around the world come together. That's how it's come to be. And what's really neat for that part of it is that you feel like you're in your own tribe. So many people are looking for a tribe. They want to fit in. Like I said, they're the smartest person in the group. 2015, you should draw a line in the sand and say, it's my turn now. For years I've been taking care of my family, my friends, my peers, my coworkers. People come to you for counsel because they think you're the smartest person in the group, but you're a duck where you look cool on top and you're freaking out under the water. That's the same thing for all of us. It's time to literally draw a line in the sand and say, you know what? It is my turn. I'm going to start taking care of myself. I'm going to invest in myself. I'm going to fill my cup so full that I can feed the world with what flows over. I'm going to start making sure that my needs are met, and more importantly, I'm surround myself with the people that can help make me the person I'm destined for. look, the realities are you don't want to take that idea for your play, your movie, your business with the grave with you. But most people will because they're afraid of what other people will think. Surround yourself with other people that think as crazy as you do, and you'll be amazed what actually the results will come to be.
And then one more thing, because you got me thinking here, is that how often, I guess, if you're saying twice a year, do you find that people come back? You know, you have like return people coming back to the tribe. So then you have 300 and then...
Yeah, I got good news and bad news of that one. Only 50% of anyone that's come as alumni is allowed to come back the second one. Now, you can come back again and again, but we only have, so 150 will be alumni and 150 will be new. And then the next one, 150 alumni, 150 new. And it's whoever signed us up quickest as alumni gets to come, which always goes out instantaneously. So the whole idea is to surround yourself with the people that really want to be part of it, because we want to keep sharing this content. If we brought back all alumni, everyone, it'd be too big, and I think we'd lose that intimacy feeling.
Yeah.
Not only that, we're looking for new people to take you on the road.
There's a great comment from Brian, who says, when you are walking on stepping stones over a river, you focus on the stones and not on the water you might fall into. So I love that comment. It's great. And then there's a question from Philip right here. Philip, unmute, my friend.
Okay. Also, wait. So we also had another question was, how do you meet these people? Here's what we do: is we actually will have a couple networking breakout sessions where people can do it. We'll also do team building little things where those lights that we talked about that we the dough that we raise, we'll actually build the lights as a consortium. So we'll actually sit around the table and build them. And what's really neat is on the back of these little lights, you can write a message, positive something, and then that imagine somebody in Afghanistan getting something saying, "Hey, you are special. You make a difference." It's kind of a cool little experience. So we'll do that hard work for you.
Love it, Philip. You're on air.
And we have one question. Oh yeah, there's Philip.
Hi, Philip.
Hey, Philip. We had one comment. What are some of the kind of best practices that you do on a regular basis?
Yeah, that's one good.
Yeah, this is one that I love, that I actually got right out of Think and Grow Rich and Napoleon Hill, which really kind of solved the big problem I had. I don't know if there's some of you out there going, if I got nothing to do, if there's nothing on my agenda for the day, or I don't know where to go next, what do I do? That is like, I've been plagued with that. I mean, man, that was like, what are we doing? And if I didn't have something to do, I would feel like I should be doing something, and then it just get down into the spiral. Before you know it, you're kind of beat up about it. So here's one of the coolest thing that I realized. Thank you. This dog's eating my finger. If you have downtime, this is a really interesting thing. Napoleon Hill talked about being on purpose. Living your life on purpose. And there's two things that he said. He goes, it's either you are somebody who drips, meaning that you just kind of go where the leaf blows you and you have no purpose, or you're somebody who's on purpose. And when you have nothing to do and you say, okay, I got nothing to do, I'm just going to throw the TV on because I just want to fill an hour, I got nothing to do. You're not really going to be on purpose. What you need to do is all of that empty time that you have, simply do one thing. Simply pick up a book. Yeah. Simply fill your 30 minutes with something constructive. Put in a CD, listen to something, read something. Because if you don't fill that empty space with something on purpose, guess what? The universe is almost like, he describes it almost like a vacuum. It'll just suck you down into the negativity. Before you know it, I mean, why do you think people spend more time watching television all week than they would ever spend building a business and complaining about not being successful? But they'll spend 5 hours a night watching TV. Why? Because it's.
I've got an idea here. Go ahead.
Go ahead.
So I'm confessing right now. I'm addicted to Candy Crush.
Oh, Candy Crush. Oh.
It's horrible, and this is where my time suck goes into. So I need a reform. I need to come back to Jesus.
Here's what I'm going to do, and this is unscripted. So this right here is a leather-bound book from the Napoleon Hill archives. No one you know will have this on their bookshelf. This is my one that I actually use for my notes and stuff like that when I'm working on writing my different books and whatnot. The first person that actually calls us and talks to Hilliard and comes to Secret Knock, I'm gonna put this in an envelope and I'm gonna mail it to you as a little gift.
Oh my God, that's awesome! So guys, you're watching this hangout. Right next to the hangout, on the right side, you have the way to fill up an application. All you have to do is fill it up and talk to, I can't remember his name, I'm sorry.
Hilliard.
Hilliard. And then last question from Kristen, because we're running out of time.
Kristen's got it.
All right. So my question is, when you haven't met someone before, like, what is the best way to approach someone that they're at the top of your industry and you just really, really want to hang out with them? You want to learn.
Go ahead.
Hi, John Humphrey. How are you?
John.
Would you mind if I speak to you for a few minutes? I'm looking to get into your industry, and you're the top in my game, top in your game. Hey, can I spend 5 minutes with you? Can I take you for coffee? Can I do something?
Yeah. The most successful people are also the most available. At art, again, if you're doing that in your general workplace, the way I would suggest is that you reach out to the top person in the field and say, I'm really interested in getting into this. Will you do me a favor and just let me pick your brain for a few minutes? So give me one nugget of guidance that I can do for myself. If you reach out to 5 people in your community that are the top 5 real estate brokers, top 5 artists, top 5 house builders, I guarantee you one of them will get back to you, and that's the secret. At Secret Knock, you don't need to do any of that stuff. Everyone's cool. We don't even wear name tags, no lanyards, none of that stuff. Everyone's cool. We invite you. We want you to go meet everybody and get to know folks because they're just like you and just like me. And here's the funniest thing. You've got something really powerful to offer. Just what's common sense to you is not common sense to someone else. That's the bottom line. What's common sense to you is not common sense to someone else. So what you're an expert at, which you think is easy to do in your sleep, someone else is at that same event looking for that guidance. That's the funniest part about it, is that you'll come away knowing that you got something of value too.
So it's like one hand up and one hand down.
One thing I want to just answer with Kristen is, you know what the scariest, the funniest thing is that the most available people will always say, call me, contact me, I'm here to help. They say it all the time, but how many people has Greg said that? And I've heard him say this to 1,000 people. How many people actually ever call you and say, he's on call saying, just call me and I'll introduce you to who you need to get to know, and nobody calls them. We think that somehow there's got to be this magic thing. I got to be a somebody. I got to do this whole thing.
It's all in here, but most people are afraid to pick it up and actually dial. All right, are we done? Are any more questions, or are we good to go?
No, we are good, guys. So I'm amazed that you offered this amazing book. Anyone who wants it, the first person, just fill out an application. You're going to get a phone call, and hopefully we'll see you in the next Secret Knock. Thank you so much, Greg and John, for joining us.
Thank you so much for putting it together. Great seeing everybody.
Keep smiling.
Make it wacky.
Bye.